Listen to this podcast, or I'll gut you.
Welcome back, horror hounds, to Ghostman and Rivera's Horror Show podcast.
I'm Mike Ghostman Pickle.
And I'm James Rivera. Today we have a guest with us on the podcast, CJ VECCHIO.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
This guy's a writer, director, producer, and he's also doing a crowdfunding campaign for his first feature film right now, The Evil 3, starring Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, and Leatherface. How's that going?
It's going pretty good. I like your background picture too, by the way. So that's actually one of the photo shoots we did with the 3. So it's doing great. I mean, we launched on Friday the 13th last week, and it's taken off so far. You know, we have, I think, like 53 days left. It's a 60-day campaign. So we have, 53 days left, and so far, so good.
What's your money-raising goal for the campaign?
Our money raising goal, we're looking for $15,000. All right. But I mean, obviously, the stretch goals, those are key. So, the higher it goes, just the better production value. We have Brett Wagner, the lost Leatherface. So from 2003. So we have him already signed up. We're in talks with some other stars, and the higher we go, I could get the bigger draws coming in.
Perfect.
I like how you laid out your stretch goals. You have them right there on the campaign where you say, this is our main goal, 15,000, and if you give us more, this is what you'll get with each level of it. I think it gives people a little more incentive to donate more. Yeah,
and what we're going to do, we hit our 15, and we haven't announced it yet, so this is doing some announcements here on your show. But if we hit our 15,000 stretch goal, everybody that contributed, we're going to raffle off some prizes, and so on and so on. So look forward to that when I'm going to start posting. When we get closer to our stretch goals, when we need to really, get it going, I'm going to start posting what items we're going to raffle off.
Cool.
Well, what's unique about this crowdfunding campaign is how involved that you make the fans. Mm-hmm. Like, basically, you're having the fans pick who wins. So does that mean you have a different scenario already written for each person that wins, each villain?
The main purpose of this Indiegogo is to have it fan-friendly, fan-interactive. It's about the fans. I'm a fan, you're a fan, and we'll get involved. So we have, and our perks are the budget's pretty good. So, I mean, we have the typical $5, $10 perks, but, for $20 perk, you could choose who wins. Like I said, you could pick either Jason, Michael, or Leatherface. You get a free limited poster with that, free download 24 hours before it hits the public, and a lot of bonus perks. So, and also anybody that gets any of our producer perks, we have 3 different endings, okay? So anybody that hits our producer perks, they get to read the 3 endings, and we're going to have a vote on which one we're going to film.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, and at the end, it's easy. Whoever wins, if it's Michael or Jason or Leatherface, I mean, it'll take me 5 minutes to switch the roles and characters. That's the easy part.
Perfect. I hope you don't mind if we go back a little bit. I wanted to know, where did you grow up, and did you have exposure to horror movies from an early age?
Well, I grew up in Chicago burbs, Des Plaines, Illinois, right? So at a young age, I was kind of unfortunately thrown into it, but I have an older brother. He's 10 years older than I am. So, I'm 8, he's 18, and there's a few times I snuck in and he's watching The Exorcist or some really freaky movies that just kind of affected me. We were involved. My family knew a lot of Chicago police officers. We actually best friend was a Des Plaines police chief. So we were there when the Gacy story broke out. So that was interesting. We had inside. I remember when they used to come over to the house for dinner, and they'd be talking shop, and I was just glued. So that kind of got the start of the horror. When I was in high school, when Friday 13th, 1, 2, and 3 came out, I remember ditching school just to go to be the first one, at noon showing on a Friday. That was, I was that guy, the only one in the audience at, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So yeah, I was deep into it when I was younger, but I don't know what happened, but I took like a decade or two off, I mean, I got married, had a kid, that's the last thing the wife wanted me to watch was, a slasher movie, Saw or anything in front of her. So I took a break, and within probably like the last 4 or 5 years, I just jumped back into it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I noticed your credits didn't start up to the last couple of years. Did you do a lot of stuff like independently on your own that aren't on IMDb before you started getting the credits for the short films?
No, I mean, I was an actor 10 years ago, back when I was in my prime. So I did a couple of TV shows, the Chicago Fire and some mockumentary type of shows, acting. And my girlfriend, the story how I got into it was my girlfriend was adopted. 2 years ago, she found her adoptive father. And I did a quick Google search, Facebook search, and, his name's Danny Broderick. And the first thing was, he's a #1 best-selling author on Amazon. He wrote the book, which is another coincidence of Gacy. It's such a small world. He wrote the book Defending a Monster, the Gacy book. So that blew my mind. It's just a small world. So it was just a perfect story, great guy. They hit off, and him and I would just talk shop. And I said, this needs to be a script. I always wanted to write a script. Back in college, when I took a script writing class, and just never went anywhere with it because I had to get a 9 to 5-er. And he just lit a spark under my ass, and I wrote their story, which was like a drama type of thing. And he read it, and nothing really happened. And then I entered a contest, a short horror contest, and he read it and he goes, "Dude, you found your calling." So I wrote BL. That was my first horror script. It got a lot of attention online. I had a couple of producers, or actually one producer interested in it, and it was a little shady. So, I had a strange feeling when I found, and her father is also an attorney in LA. So when he found that out, everything went downhill. So I said, I'm just going to do it myself. So that's what happened. I funded, actually all of my other movies I funded myself, and that's how I got started.
Yeah, I asked if you had done anything before that, because when I watched BL, it seemed like it was made by somebody who had already been doing things for a while.
Thank you. No, that was BL was like basically last year. So within 2 years, I've already done 4 projects. So, and BL took off. That was just a passion project. I mean, I've always been a movie buff, and I was that guy. Like, I would watch a movie and say, I would have done this different. I was a total armchair director. And I just, jumped in. And like I said, being an amateur, it's who you surround yourself with. So, I searched, for a DP and lighting and makeup and talent, and watched plenty of YouTube videos on directing. And, in BL, actually my 2 movies, I have young children in it, right? 2 young girls. And the thing was, children are such a pain to direct, and this and that. And like I said, it was a breeze, but like I said, YouTube helped a lot. And thank you, by the way, the compliment. But yeah, BL was my first, and we hit the film fest last year, and it was on fire.
Cool. So you were an actor before. You saw Animal Witness, Undercover, Double Life, and Chicago PD. So that gave you, I'm guessing, a lot of exposure to directing and anything. So did you learn anything as an actor that's benefited you as a writer and director now at this point?
Well, when it was cool, when I did those, it was very, it's basically in the movie business, it's hurry up and wait, right? So I was accustomed to that. And while you're waiting, I mean, I might have a 50, or like a 2-minute scene in the picture, but I'm stuck there for 12 hours. So I just ghosted everybody. I'm not ghosted, but I followed everybody, so I was near the director the entire time. I was near the lighting guy, the sound guy. And, instead of sitting at the table eating all day, I was like with part of the crew, just shadowing them. That's basically what happened. So I knew what to expect on set.
Okay.
So this shows how valuable technology has become for the up and coming filmmaker, because you can take raw talent and then you can learn just on YouTube like you did, and become an accomplished director, you know, because like I said, your shorts already look like they're accomplished. But I want to ask you a question I like to ask all the horror filmmakers that we interview. Can you pinpoint any certain horror film that made you a horror fan? And then what film made you a horror filmmaker? And is it the same film?
Well, you know, once again, I have to go back. You know, I think actually what got me going was Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I remember hanging around my buddies, watching that in the basement. Also, another thing was the John Carpenter The Thing with Kurt Russell. I remember that. Yeah. We were at a local theater in our hometown, and it was like a 3-picture showing, and the first 2 movies I can't remember what they were. They weren't horror, but I think it was like 99 cents for 3 movies, and we were just sitting there just killing time, and that movie started, and that just actually rocked my world, seeing that. To get me into filming movies, you know, I think it was the Conjuring series. Okay. You know? That got me into it. That got me back into it. You know, Heredity, you know, that type of stuff. That got me back into it. And then I figured, you know, I always wanted to do it as a dream. And I said, you know, what the hell? Might as well go for it. Cool. Thank you for the stimulus check, though. The stimmy check. That paid for BL. I had it. It's gonna go. If we're going to turn this into a positive, let's make a movie and see what happens. You know what I got to lose? So.
At the risk of sounding dumb, BL is supposed to be Beelzebub.
Yes, yes. So it's based off a little 12-year-old girl that's bullied, and she befriends a demon in her closet to do her dirty deeds. So,
where did you get the idea for this short?
You know, I have no clue. It just came to me. Okay. You know, I mean, to come think about it, I have so many things in my head story-wise. And, you know, someone can say, you'll do a story. What do you want to do a story about? And it just takes me a minute and boom, I have a plot line already. And that's basically how it was. I mean, and the thing about being an independent writer and director is you have to look in your budget, right? Mm-hmm. So I figured it's a one location. Let me write one location, which was my house, right? So, you know, what can I write around that? You know, it's not, you know, car chases or, you know, 5 locations, schools, big buildings. And what can I write that would fit a shooting location of my house? And that's usually how I start off.
And then you still found an impactful way to show deaths. Like, I love the 911 call. Yeah. Because you just go right from one scene, the scene ends, and then all of a sudden it's the 911 call. And then you picture the death in your head, and you show the close-up of some bodies, and done. You might as well show them the deaths.
Yeah. I mean, I like the visual aspect of storytelling too. So, and that was a big scene in there. You know, and I had different versions, and that one I finally hit on. I'm like, you know what? Let's keep it. Let's rock with it.
And that 911 call sounds real, by the way, but it isn't, right?
It is real, actually.
Okay, it sounds real.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate accident probably 10, 15 years ago. So it is a real call.
Those death scenes that you put where they're like on the floor and you like Michael said, you don't even need to see the deaths. Was that inspired a little bit by Hereditary?
Yeah, I mean, Hereditary hit me a lot. You know, I mean, that is such a great movie to watch. And there's little things that you pick up, little Easter eggs you pick up through it. So I mean that had impact. So yeah, that I got a lot of influence off of Hereditary.
Yeah, I got Hereditary vibes off of that scene.
Yeah. You know, I like the things in the closet. I like Easter eggs. I mean, I have, I had this creepy. Let me see if I can get it off camera. You know, I found this creepy picture of Jesus, and this is basically the background of every one of my films so far. So it's just
the scariest looking picture of Jesus I've ever seen in my life.
My girlfriend hates
Where did you find that thing? Where did you find that thing?
I found it online. Went to Walgreens, made a copy of it. That was Jesus. That was it. So
I want to ask you one more thing about BL. That monster. I love that it's a great design, but minimal reveal. It makes you feel like the monster is more real. So tell us a little bit about that design and what made you decide to go with the minimum reveal with such a great design.
Well, you know, I mean, like I said, the thing in any filmmaking, like I said, indie, it's time. And it got to a point where, I mean, we only shot that in 12 hours, the entire, the entire scene. So I wanted to keep it, dark, minimal. I mean, the reveal, we had several different takes that we just couldn't get it right. So, but like I said, I like that, you could barely see it. Is that a demon in the closet? Yes or no? Or is that a ghost standing in the corner? And that's how I did it. And we got the mask from Immortal Mask, which is a great company. So BL, that's where we got that from.
Oh, cool.
So you also wrote another short, The Addict, which I thought was good. That one you just wrote it. So what makes you decide whether or not you want to write what you direct, and do you prefer the writing process or the directing process?
Well, I belong to a studio here in Chicago, in Arlington Heights, Indie DB Studio, right? Mm-hmm. So it's member funded, member driven, and they have little contests. They do a lot of stuff. If you're a Chicago filmmaker, actor, want to get involved in filmmaker, Indie DB, they take membership, but they do a lot of free events. Like they'll do free headshots. So you go in there, get a free headshot, free classes, and they'll do free contests. So that was, you had to write 3 pages based on an addict. It could be romance, drama, whatever. My forte is horror. So I wrote a 3-page story. Actually, I was being kind of lazy and waited to the last minute. So I had like 3 hours before the due. I'm like, oh, let's see what I can do, let's get that spell check going. And I won. So they took it, they produced it, directed it. Jeremy Appleblom, he directed it. But I wanted a part, so I took over the editing on that. So this way I had a little bit of say with my baby. And yeah, we filmed that, The Attic, probably like in 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we had a crew of 40. I mean, we had everything. I mean, we had, triple cameras going, sound, lights. I mean, we had a huge crew, and it was all volunteer. So basically, it was filmed for free.
Well, I see that you had some success in festivals, pretty much all your short films. Mm-hmm. Tell us about your festival strategy, and if you have any advice for other filmmakers about how to be successful in the festival circuit.
Well, my advice, I went for the coolest logos, like Houston Horror Fest, badass logo, PopCon. So I went on Film Freeway. I did a search, filtered search, horror, short, whatever. Now there are a lot of film fests where you just give them $30 and boom, you win. And that's why I don't like the posters. These guys will go out and direct a movie and there's 100 laurels on their poster. And it's like, all right, you're just making it cheap. So, my main thing is to make sure it's a live event. It was hard during COVID, because a lot of film festivals had to switch to virtual. But that was my picking strategy, was live events I wanted to go to. So I went to as many as I could last year, traveled all, basically all over the United States for them, and just had a great time. But I usually go for somebody, a lot of these film festivals have been around for like 15, 20 years. And I think the worst experiences I've had were a couple of those. They kind of screwed it up a little bit. I don't want to drop any names. But, like I said, they have to be a live event, organized, cool logo, cool program, be on social media and a constant social media postings. And that's usually how I choose.
Okay. So what do you find appealing about horror? What do you think what do you think it is that makes you a horror fan? What do you like about the genre?
I personally like the films where there's just, there's not, what can I say? It's everybody could be a victim. I mean, I like those type of horrors. It doesn't mean, the good look, you always get the good looking guy, he's going to be, dead, or you always could pick out the girl that's going to be the only one surviving, but that and just like the thrill of it, the anticipation of, ooh, what's around that corner? Is it coming? And that's, and I think when I started losing it in horror, I'm not a big, and here I'm making a slasher movie, but when the Saw series started to come out, I wasn't a fan of that gore and all that. Like, I can't watch any medical real operation videos. I get all squirmy and stuff like that. But but I can watch. But for a while there, I kind of, like I said, when I lost track, got out of the horror. It was basically because it was Saw movies. It was basically, it's all gore. and I just lost interest. And then, like I said, just the recent, Conjuring series that, brought me back in.
So you definitely have a preference for more psychological scares than.
Yeah, it's basically it. Yeah.
So with this movie, do you plan on, since you're tackling 3 of the most iconic slashers of all time, are you going to try to implement more of a psychological angle on on the script?
Yeah, I mean, basically, we're gonna have but they have the 3, and each 3 has their own killing method, right? I mean, Michael is slow, methodic. Jason's just brute force. Leatherface in my eyes is just a gory gore fest, right? With some mommy issues involved in it. So each 3 it's going to be basically 3 fan films in one, right? And to the point where at the end, they all 3 get together and duke it out. And it's just going to be a hodgepodge of blood and stabbing and chainsaws and body parts.
So you did a handful of successful short films. What made you want to make this one your first feature film?
Well, I do have a couple of feature scripts out there, right? I just figured, how cool it would be. But then again, also, I had to look at the realistic aspect of it. I'm new in the business, right? 2 years new. Yeah, my goal was to get these, BL, Evil's Revenge out, which Evil's Revenge is actually still on the festival circuit. And so is BL. I put BL back in there. But, I want to do a feature, right? I've had my experience doing the shorts. I want to move up. And I figured also, too, if I had to do an Indiegogo, the odds of them having fans of those 3 contribute, that's the best way to go. And the easiest. They guaranteed funding, I hope,
Yeah.
So of those 3, who is your favorite of those 3 particular slashers?
Ooh, it's like, who's your favorite kid, right? I really can't. I can't answer that. I mean, I love them all. Obviously, Leatherface had the latest 2002 movie, Netflix, and then a lot of people like said that was love or hate. I loved it. Would I've done it different? Hell yeah, I would have definitely done it differently. But I think it was a great attempt. But I'm going for the underdog. I like Leatherface. I'm picking Leatherface.
Okay.
Because he's actually losing in the vote. So, Leatherface fans, the evil3.com, Evil3 on Indiegogo, vote for poor Leatherface. He's losing it.
What about the films themselves? What are the standout films in each of these big franchises for you?
Obviously, I'm a fan of number 1, Texas Chainsaw 1 and 2. And then the 2022. Jason, I think Friday the 13th, the remake in 2009, got a lot of slack too. Just on the Netflix version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I liked the 2009 version of Friday the 13th. They try to take a new route, make them faster, quicker and stuff like that. And I kind of dig that. The Halloween movies, the last one, I wasn't a fan of. At all.
Yeah.
Evil dies tonight, 20,000 times. I'm actually searching. How they did the Star Wars, what was it, Jar Jar Binks? Ruined that Star Wars, and some guy took the movie and edited every scene of Jar Jar Binks out. I'm looking at doing that with with the Halloween movie. They just edit all the evil dies tonight screaming and chanting, and I think it'd be a great movie.
I actually watched that again like less than a month ago, and I had the same thought. If you took out all of this subplot with this evil dies tonight in the hospital, that movie would be so much more entertaining. It would get to so much faster.
Go back faster. I'm just like, like I said, I've recently been doing marathon binges with all 3 of the franchises. Okay. So, I'm watching it. And like I said, I seen the older ones when I was a kid in Blockbuster Video, which was, brought back some great memories. But, and I had to watch that one again. And I was like, whew, I couldn't deal with it. I could turn it off, actually.
Well, you seem to be pretty good at gathering teams and collaborators together. So how much of your stuff is the same team that you bring along with each one? And how much of it do you recruit new team members each time?
Well, like I said, my original team from BL are going to be on there, right, as crew members. Same thing. Basically, it's the Indie DB studios, right? It's all the team members from there. So, they have such a talented, diverse crew, and everybody is just so happy to jump on board. And they're like into it. And that's the main thing. I've had some crew members before in the past, and they just were just there for a paycheck and put zero effort into it. And I don't, that's not going to happen again. It happened in one shoot. So I want people that are involved in it. And the same thing is with this Indiegogo, I need a marketing team too. So I have, Amy Crabtree. She's just nailing the marketing. Matt Skinner, he's rocking it. One of the free perks that we're giving away is, obviously you can't afford it, but if you share any of my social media posts, the Evil Threes Facebook page post, whoever shares the most is going to get a producer credit at the end of the Indiegogo, and they get all the free perks that come with it. And that's for free. It takes you 2 seconds to share a post on your Facebook, and you get that free perk.
Are you planning on editing your film too?
Yeah, I have. I've edited. I love editing. I love editing. I've sat there for like Evil. I mean, BL probably took me 2-3 months to edit. Same thing with Evil's Revenge. The Attic took me probably. I had the deadline, so I was stretching that deadline out. I think I had 4 weeks to edit that. So I just love sitting there and going through audio and and I had a big producer in Chicago. He went up to me with the when he saw the Attic, he's like, "Did you edit that?" And I kind of like, "Ooh, did it suck?" He goes, "Dude, you should be an editor." He's like, "You're awesome." I go, "Whoa, thank you." I was on cloud nine for a couple of days. So I love editing, coloring, sound, all that type of stuff. So I'll be doing that.
Would you recommend that to filmmakers to try to learn a little bit of editing skills? Or
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. It helps out in the long run, especially if you're going to be directing. And my other tip for directing is to have a backup plan. I've always throughout life always have a plan B and a plan C, and just expect things to go wrong. It's going to go wrong. I mean, the shoots I was as an actor, the shoots that I directed, there's always some mishap or something happening, and always have a plan B or C. This way you can change it, because time's money in this business. Even if it's a no budget indie, I mean, it's still time's money and time's time. People go have to leave sooner or later. They can't stay there all night.
Yeah.
Well, at the center of every crowdfunding campaign is the perks, and I love how you have the wide range of perks in here. So if you just want to spend a few bucks, you can spend $5 or $10 to get a perk, all the way up to a few hundred. So what are some of the most exciting perks you would say that get people to visit the campaign and contribute? Well,
I mean, like I said, I think you can act if you want to be a victim. If you want one of the three to kill you, we have that perk. And we also have bonus perks that come with it. It's just not that. You'll get the script, autographed posters, DVD, Blu-ray, and all that. I wanted to have the cosplayers. When I went to the film fest, I loved watching the cosplayers. So if you want to be Jason, Michael, or Leatherface, you could be one of them. You could be on set for a day and have a scene, all day shoot of being one of the three. The thing with that, though, is you have to use our masks and our, continuity and all that, and our, costumes. But if you want to be in the movie as one of the three or be a victim, that's one of the perks that we have. We also have a mega perk, which is like for $99, you could have basically all of our merch and credit in the movie and stuff like that. So it's a wide range, and we're releasing new perks every week to keep it fresh. And the same thing with announcing actors. We're announcing an actor every week.
And very reasonable prices on the perks for what you're offering, I must say.
Yeah. And like I said, you can't go wrong with that free perks. Share it all of our posts. I mean, but yeah, that's how I want to do it. I know times are tough for people. Things are expensive out there, and I wanted to give it some value, not just $5. We'll say hi and Facebook, but we have added bonus perks to that, so you just get more than just what you're the one thing that we're promoting.
Cool. So, are there any other fan films that inspired you to do your own?
You know what? I'm a superhero guy, so all the Batman fan films. I would love to do a Batman one. I think that'd be pretty, a Flashpoint Batman would be awesome. With Thomas Wayne. I would love to do that. Thomas Wayne with a John Wick flair.
So you want to do the one where Thomas Wayne is Batman and is the Joker
with guns? Yeah.
Okay.
Total John Wick style. I would love to do it. Ass kicking. You know, I mean, if I would have, you know, I'd love to do that. Star Wars. Some of these Star Wars fan films are awesome. And obviously, there's tons of Friday the 13th fan films that are out there. You know, same thing with Leatherface. Amy Coate, she's a Facebook horror influencer. She's going to be in our movie, but she's also going to be in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan film, The Grind. So, I mean, there's tons of horror, especially with Jason, and with all the lawsuits, with the, being held up. I mean, since 2009. I mean, what a great character. So there's so many great, Friday the 13th fan films out there now and being made. So I was just, I saw that. I'm like, hey, horror's my field. Let's do the 3.
So what are your plans for this film ultimately? Are you trying to take this on the festival circuit, or how do you want to get it out there once it's
I want to get it on the festival circuit. I mean, the ones that have fan films. But also too is, get not only my name out, but all the, the team's name out. So, the DP that we have a couple different DPs, Brian Reyes, Jacob Skowski, to name a few. So, I mean, if it could help them out, help maybe get my name out there, that's the benefit of it.
Okay.
So I was wondering how you were able to secure some of these really impressive locations, especially the old Joliet prison.
Well, we're in talks right now with the go. It's up to the cities now. So we just sent out for permits last week, and it's just a waiting game. So we're reaching out to, I was actually on the computer just a little while ago, was checking out some forest preserve type of locations, because one of the scenes is a big biker party. So we're just talking to cities. They're showing interest, but we have to just go through the channels. And that's the hardest part, is, all we need is that one person to say, no. I mean, it's like with the first Scream movie. They had the high school already set up. In the last minute, I think it was 48 hours, the school said you can't shoot here, and they had to scramble. So, I mean, and that's, once again, that's a plan B and a plan C type of thing. So I'm just reaching out to locations, Airbnb, doing that right now, actually, as we speak, just to nail and have a couple different options, just in case we do have that one set in a town and horror, we can't film that in our town. That's terrible. And then, pull the permits. That ain't going to happen. So, but yeah, we're reaching out to a bunch of cities, a lot of interest. So,
okay. So I just had one more question about the stretch goals. I was curious of how you have ultimately, you want, like, maybe for it to get $55,000, and then nice. you'll add more actors to the cast, more locations and stuff. So how much do you plan as you go along? How much do you plan to reach those stretch goals? Like, how much do you anticipate that you're going to hit it, so you start preparing those things? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, basically with Indiegogo, we're set up to do, after our 60 days, to do on demand, right? So, and I've been studying Indiegogos for the last year and a half, 2 years. So there's, the way the perks go and all that, and there's a lull, and then, but my plan is just to be hitting, podcasts, guys like you to help us out, to get the name out. Monday, tomorrow, we're launching a bunch of new press releases, and they probably get into some of the horror websites, for articles and some stories. So for us, it's just to keep on hammering, getting the word out there, and hopefully just drive those contributions up and up and up. So, and like I said, we have, there's actors that I have, I'll list the names and phone numbers and email addresses. So once it starts getting closer, then, then we'll start, reaching out to them and say, will you do it? I mean, we have a couple people already that we might be announcing in talks, in the next couple of weeks.
So that's pretty cool. You have your whole game plan laid out.
Right.
No matter what budget you end up with, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes down, and I have a plan where if we don't reach it, what are we going to do? If we don't reach our 15,000, we'll just make a killer kick-ass trailer that we could make, and just relaunch again with that killer kick-ass trailer. So, like I said, hopefully that won't happen, but if it does, then we're ready for that. But that's not my goal. but that's a backup plan to have. So, but like I said, if we hit the 15,000, we'll make a nice indie feature. And the more we get, then we could get more gear and more crew and more shooting locations and actors. And that's the key thing.
That's a big incentive to donate right there, that the person that created this campaign is ready for whatever is thrown at them. And I see that you're ready for this.
Yeah. You know, I got the game plans ready. I hope, like I said, if we don't make it, we don't reach it, I swear to God, that trailer is going to blow up. And it's you know, like I said, it's going to be awesome. And then we just launch again and then just make it, you know, twice as big.
I mean, I think,
but I don't want to go there. I want to hit the goal. I want to stretch.
There you go.
The evil three.
Okay, you're gonna hit your goal. Although I have to say that's smart. I think a lot of people, when they start a lot of these campaigns, they're only thinking about the film they're gonna make, and they don't have any backup plans. You actually came up with a backup plan, and that's actually a good idea. I don't think a lot of filmmakers actually do that.
Well, you know, I'm a businessman. So I've been self-employed for the last 20 years, a couple different companies. So, I mean, I had to start off at the bottom and work my way on top. So, and that's how I'm treating this experience. You know, it's basically my new career. So I've learned in the past what to do and what not to do, and then build it onto this. So,
cool.
Look forward.
I think you hit the nail right on the head right there. Yeah, you've been self-employed for the last 20 years. So, of course, you've planned, and you have backup plans, you have worst case scenario plans, you have best case scenario plans, all of it.
Yeah. I mean, you know, and like I said, super excited. You know, I'm planning, you know, to have, you know, the best fan film out there, and that's the ultimate. I'm calling it the ultimate fan film, and that's what we're looking to shoot for.
So, how far are you planning ahead as far as your career goes? Do you have any ideas of what you want to do after this movie, or any ideas for films that you would like to get funded after?
I would like to do some original. I mean, if I could do, I don't want to be that guy that just does fan films, or that guy that just does, you know, Indiegogos and, you know, finance me. You know, if I had to do another fan, you know, if this works out and it hits, you know, I mean, will I do a sequel to it? Yeah, you know, I got a couple ideas at who the new Evil 3 would be, and or carry over, who I'd carry over. If I had to do another fan film, I think that Batman, Flashpoint, John Wick would be kick-ass. But I mean, I want to also focus on original. I have probably 10 original script ideas I'm working on. So I would like to go original. I mean, I want to, you know, this is going to be my launching pad. And then if it goes great and takes off, then, you know, then we'll do our originals.
Okay. Yeah, because judging by your shorts, you're definitely an idea man.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'd like to see more original stuff from you.
Yeah, I would, you know, like I say, getting back to Gacy, it's just a huge influence. I have a couple scripts about Gacy-themed scripts. So one of them had some interest with a producer a couple of weeks ago, and just things, you know, that's how it is in the business.
But do you mean like Gacy themed, like the idea of John Wayne Gacy, or actually about John Wayne Gacy?
A little bit of both. So I mean, I like the theme. There is some people think that he had accomplices, and I kind of want to go that route, that never got caught. And what if they're still out there? And something triggers them. They also, the Ripper crew, that was a Gacy theme. And that's a true story. Back in the 80s, one of the guys worked for Gacy, and it was 4 guys driving around in vans, and they were serial killers. They went on a killing spree for 3 months in Chicago in the 80s, and they caught them. And one guy, they actually released one guy.
This is true?
It's true. And the same thing with the accomplice, the Gacy accomplice. There's one guy out there. He is a suspect, and if you Google it, you'll find his name. I don't want to mention his name. He's on Facebook. Yeah, so there's some true stories. But, yeah, he's still out there, and the guy that was in the Ripper crew, he's in some sort of living in some church right now in the burbs down here.
I find that kind of mind-blowing, because a lot of it happened before the age of the internet. I just wonder how people like that would find each other, or would how would instinctively know, oh, you're a serial killer like me, or you're a serial killer.
Yeah. So I have a couple of those stories, you know, some scripts written out for both of those, which I would like to get that made.
Okay. That's something I would like to see, because I have to tell you, like, I love horror movies and I have so much fun with them. No matter what the quality, if a horror movie is based on anything true, or if I know that happened, it gets under my skin more than any fictional story ever does.
Yeah, well, when that Gacy thing was taken off a couple of weeks ago, I actually I told my girlfriend, if anything ever happens to me, this is the guy that did it. He lives 20 miles from me. This is the guy, and it's kind of creepy. Like his face, there's a scene. The last person, I think it was Michael Priest. I want to say the last Gacy's victim. He was big into German Shepherds, right? So there's pictures of him as a kid before Gacy got a hold of him with some German Shepherds, and the guy that's the alleged accomplice in the news, his profile picture is German Shepherds, which kind of creeped the shit out of me when
wow.
I'm like, whoa. So do your Google, you'll find him. He's out there.
Man.
I'm not too worried. I'm 6'2" pounds, so I have a pit bull myself.
I think that's a good idea for a movie because I don't think a lot of people are aware of that. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think the general public is aware of that. I think especially if depending on how well this does, if this does really well, I think you could easily get a good budget, or if you crowdfunded a film about Gacy and accomplices, I'm pretty sure there would be a lot of interest on that.
Yeah, and that's hopefully my next after this. I'm going to shoot and go for that.
Okay.
Because like I said, I have a team behind me, and they were pretty pumped when we got when it started to take off a little bit. But like I said, my girlfriend's dad, the author of Defending a Monster, he's been working on projects off and on for the last, trying to get a movie project on this for the last 8 years. And it just, it looks like it's going to happen. It's looking like it's going to happen. In typical Hollywood, they shelve it and move on to the next producer. And that's what happens in this business. So, we were pumped a couple weeks ago, and when we got some interest, and just it was a sad trombone moment, but I expect that. I've heard stories, and, it's shelved until after this, and we'll bring it back to life.
That's why you need to do it. You need to do it through a crowdfunding campaign, because Hollywood's going to be afraid of something like that. And it's kind of crazy that you have all these connections. That makes you almost like a perfect person to write the script. You even your father-in-law, which is so unexpected.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah,
and he's a side story about that. My girlfriend, I love her to death. 10 years, she could care less about this, right? She does not care that her dad's somewhat famous author, and zero interest. And I called her up one time. I go, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm picking up Gacy's Bible for Danny. I got to ship it out to L.A." I go, "What are you talking about?" She was about to do the movie project. So she had to go to this guy's house, pick up the actual Bible, Gacy's Bible, and UPS it like next day to. And I'm like, "No, wait a minute. I want to see it. I want to touch it." And she's thumbing through it. She's like, "There's crazy drawings and there's crazy handwriting." And I'm like, "Oh my God." And she's like, "No, I'm doing it right now. I'm at UPS." I said, "Damn it. I wanted to touch that Bible."
That could have been good firsthand information for a script.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously I have him. I could call him anytime. He loves to talk. So, he's involved. He's read all my scripts and all that. So, but like I said, when he comes back, I'm going to try to get him back from LA to Chicago for a visit. So hopefully he can bring that for me and I can check it out and stuff like that. It'd be pretty cool.
Cool. Well, I love to watch up and coming filmmakers on a roll, and it sure seems like you're on a roll, and it's just going to keep going after this. I have a feeling.
Thank you. I hope. Keep your fingers crossed.
What are some of your favorite horror movies, just in general?
Oh, well, you know what? Jaws. Jaws is my number one. When it came out, I want to say I was 10 or 8 when it came out. And I was a little bit of a pervert because I liked the cover of the book, The Naked Girl Swimming. So back in the day before the internet, that's all us guys had: Sears catalogs and books. So
Sears catalogs.
And I forced my parents to take me, and they were expecting that. And there was a scene, and we were at the movie theater. It was my first time at the movie theater, front row. And I'm sure you guys seen Jaws, right?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
All right. There's a scene when, Dreyfus is underwater and he goes up to the boat, he finds a tooth and the head pops out, right? and I jumped. I guess I threw my popcorn up in the air, ran all the way from the front row, leaving, screaming. Everybody in the movie theater were laughing, and my parents had to do a walk of shame to get me and leave. And that just stuck with me my entire life, and I think that was the starting point of my love for horror. Is that just the heart when you hear that theme? When that theme song was going, I heard it the first time, my heart was beating out of my chest every time because I knew something bad was going to happen, and that just stuck with me.
I'm pretty sure that movie like traumatized. I mean, I'm not pretty sure. We know that movie traumatized a whole generation.
Yeah.
And I think after that movie came out for like a couple of years, like business went down on the beaches for a while.
Oh, I still won't go. I mean, I'll go up to my knees. I think we were in Bahamas a couple of years ago. It was the first time I actually went up to my neck in water.
Oh, the Bahamas is but that's because you could see everything clearly.
That's it.
In the Bahamas,
you could see like 60 feet in the distance, so that was the only reason. But yeah, I'm a Florida guy, so I'd go up to my knee, a little under my knees. You know, they can still get you, but yeah, I just no. That really scarred me for my life, you know, and I think that's just started the hunger to get spooked.
And I'm sure you're enjoying this horror renaissance as much as we are, because you mentioned that you were into Hereditary and you're also into Conjuring. So yeah, so it seems like you like a wide variety of horror, and a lot of it's coming out right now.
Yeah, you know, and like I said, all of my movies. This is the first. The Evil 3 is the first non-supernatural, like my Jason is alive. He's not dead, right? And if you go on our Indiegogo page, there's a timeline that we're looking for. It's its own original movie. But I mean, my other movies were supernatural, demonic. And there was a scene after Evil's Revenge. We had a scene with a Ouija board and fake blood on a cross and stuff like that. And after that happened, the lights were kind of flickering for a couple weeks, and I live in a townhome, and my neighbor in the adjacent wall was like, "Are your lights flickering?" I go, "Yeah, maybe I should have never done that sacrifice, film that sacrifice." And she's like, "No, you're not filming any more crazy demon scenes in your house ever again." So I'm like, all right, I'll just move the slashers and kill people regularly. So
yeah.
like Mike was saying, I actually I'd say like the past 10 years of horror, there's kind of been like a boom or a renaissance. I think there's more horror films being made. There's a lot of franchise movies, but I think there's more original horror films being made. And I don't know if you know this, but like other than superhero movies right now, horror is like the other thing that's a surefire bet at the box office. So I think this is like the perfect time for people like you or us to get into it at this time, because this is what people are looking for.
Yeah,
I've noticed the popularity of the genre that I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's like with the the Lights Out, It Follows. I mean, it's the the Peele movies. Like he's like a comedy guy, and he switched to the horror, and he has a new one coming out, something with UFOs. I don't know the name of it.
Nope.
Nope. Yeah.
Nope. All right. Yeah. I mean, that trailer is awesome, and so I mean, yeah, it's like the Renaissance. It's starting back up. I think the superhero movies are kind of fading out because they're like the same thing over and over again. I haven't seen the new Doctor Strange yet. Waiting on that one. But like I said, I think it's the Renaissance, and give people like us, the indie guys, a fresh start. I mean, they need some fresh faces. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are in the movie business and they're just puking out crap. And let's give it to a new guy. Give the reins to a new guy with some fresh ideas and see what happens. Make some movies.
Yeah, and with horror, you can make a really effective film on a low budget.
Oh yeah,
this is great.
Yeah, no budget basically. So I mean, if you can, I mean, these, especially with the technology that you said, I mean, we could film stuff on our iPhones, and it looks just as good. And there's so much software out there, free software to edit, and you just need a good laptop. And the joke is with my crew. I got Joe Riley and Brad Letta working with me, and Joe's biggest joke is I have a crappy laptop. And when I start crying, it's taking like 24 hours to render a scene. He laughs. So, hopefully I could make some money and get a nice laptop. But yeah, we got a pretty good team. Like I said, with all three of us combined, I think we're at 50 film festival awards. So we're putting that effort into this project.
That's awesome. This is going to be a random question. Not that it's relevant, but I just have to know. You seem to be a comic book fan. and you said you wanted to do like a Flashpoint Batman. Did you see the recent Batman movie?
You know what? I was like super ego inflated. I had premiere tickets here in Chicago. So we saw it on Tuesday, a couple days before went out, and I was asked to pick my seat, right? I got to have my own seat. I got to be at the end. And I picked like the last two rows, second to last row. And when we showed up to premiere, I go back up to the second to last row. And I'm like, "You're in my seat, man." He goes, "No, this is my seat. You're down there." So I screwed up. It was an IMAX showing. So we were second row during IMAX, which I have to say, don't ever get those seats, because the entire time we're like this, and it just irritated the girlfriend, and it was really blurry. It was bad. So I did see it when it was on HBO Max or Plus or whatever the hell they call it. I liked it. I liked it. I dug it. It was I was a fan of it.
Yeah, I just had to ask because I didn't show you I'm a big Batman fan.
Yeah, I'm a huge Batman fan. Dark Knight, the original comics. I have about a couple thousand comics that are, some classics. So I stopped collecting comics probably in the 90s. But before that, I just collected everyone. All these first issues and all that. So, but I'm a huge Batman. I liked it. I thought, Pattinson did a great job.
Me too.
He did a great job. My thing was, I didn't like the Bruce Wayne is like a flat, Bruce Wayne, you look at Bruce Wayne, you're like, oh, that's Batman. I missed the Playboy, but someone said to me the other day on a podcast, well, it is only based on year 2.
Mm-hmm.
So give them time to develop. So I'm like, all right, I'll go with that. But I think Pattinson pulled it out. I was a Ben Affleck fan. I was kind of excited to see him in it. They just screwed it up. I mean, Zack Snyder cut blows the original Justice League away big time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm a little worried about Warner Bros. Because they're really screwing up. The Ezra Miller, the Amber Turd, Josh Wheel. They're making some bad decisions. So Warner Brothers, look me up. Let me help you guys out. All right.
Perfect. Before we go, do you have any advice you would give out to like filmmakers or people trying to get into the industry or seeking some level of like, just festival success or anything?
Yeah, like I said, if you're going to do it yourself and finance it yourself, I recommend that. Get some cred. Get some cred underneath your wings, right? Write to what you could afford. If you can't film, you can't rent a place, or you don't have access to a place, write something where it could be in your townhome, like what I did, right? Mm-hmm. Even if you have to paint the walls, I had to repaint every movie. I had to repaint my entire house is white because that's the way I bought it. So I had to repaint almost every room per my DP. And let me tell you, you do not want to hire me because I'm the worst painter in the world. But they're like, he did it. He painted his kitchen blue. It's a crappy job, but and just study.
Okay.
YouTube. David F. Sandberg, he has a great channel. I think it's called Pony Smasher.
David F. Sandberg?
Yeah. That's the guy that wrote Lights Out, Shazam, Annabelle Conjuring. So yeah, and his YouTube channel is called Pony Smasher, I want to say. He gives great advice. And there's so many websites on YouTube. Film Courage, if I'm naming it right. Film Riot is great. And that's what I did. I just binged YouTube channels for at least 6-7 months and just watched them all. And but yeah, like I said, just write in your means. If you can't afford to do a whole a space science fiction Star Wars type of movie, don't do it. Do something that's in your budget. And there's a great for scripts, simplyscript.com. You post your script and you have other writers critique it and give you suggestions, and that helped out a lot for me too.
Okay. Perfect.
And we picked your brain as well about crowdfunding, because we actually have a crowdfunding campaign coming up. We're going to launch in October.
Nice. Let me know.
And for me, you taught me to really prepare for the worst case scenario and the best case scenario. Be fully prepared no matter what budget you end up with.
Yeah, well, you and I are Facebook friends anyways. So,
yeah.
I'd be more happy to help you out, be a part of it, because mine would be done by then. So, any advice that you need, or if anybody, you can easily find me, CJ VECCHIO on Facebook. So look for me, Instagram. If you have any questions, feel free. Not that I'm a professional, but I've, so far been there and done that. And you know, I learn from my mistakes.
Yeah, you seem to be doing it right so far. I like what you're doing.
Thank you.
Well, CJ, do you have any more questions, Michael?
I think we went over everything.
Okay.
Well, before we go, like I said, check out the Indiegogo. It's The Evil 3. It's even on, if you do a search horror films, if you forget The Evil 3, just do horror films. You'll see us on there, theevil3.com, the Evil 3 Facebook page, or CJ VECCHIO Facebook page. Go on that and help us out. Anything helps. We just have to make this happen and make the ultimate slasher fan film.
Hell
And
yeah.
it's one of the most organized feature film campaigns on Indiegogo, I think.
No, thank you.
It's well organized, and the perks are really well laid out. And like I said before, I like the wide range of perks. So if you want to spend just $5 or $10, you can, or a few $100 to get a lot of perks, you can. So visit this page.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Really quick, this is actually, I wanted to ask you, Michael, who are you rooting for amongst these three?
Ooh.
I don't know. I'm gonna say Leatherface.
You're gonna say Leatherface?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Is it the underdog thing?
Yeah, and he seems to be the most innocent.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a little baby.
He's a product of his surroundings.
Hey, before we go, what state you guys live in? You're in Wisconsin, aren't you, Mike?
Southern California.
Oh, where did I get Wisconsin from? Oh, okay.
I was born and raised in Waukegan, and then I'm out here now.
Because like I said, if you guys want to fly to Chicago, I'll put you in the movie. How's that?
Nice.
Let's let me know.
Okay.
Really quick, I'm rooting for Michael Myers. I'm a Michael Myers fanboy. My favorite. But
there you go. Vote.
Okay. So
Appreciate it, guys.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. There's a lot of interesting and entertaining information, and I'm rooting for you. And I want to see your Gacy projects. Pursue that. That actually is really exciting. And it's the idea of the accomplices, like you said, I don't think that's been done on film before. I'm pretty sure that would gain a lot of interest.
Well, we do on my YouTube channel. I think it's public. I'll make. We have a little sizzle trailer for the producer, so I'll make that public. It was something I put together like in a couple hours. So check that out. Do a little taste of it.
Cool. We'll put the links here on the podcast post.
Yeah, cool.
The links to your stuff.
Perfect, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Cool. Peace out.